Hello, this is Chef John from foodwishes.com with baked puffy fish tacos. That's right, I'm going to show you how to make amazing puffy tacos in the oven. And just so everyone's clear on the name, what we're doing here is making puffy tacos with fish, and not making tacos with puffy fish, which depending on who's cutting it could be dangerous and maybe deadly. So don't worry, these are safe and very easy, and I think the best way to make fish tacos. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to begin at the end, which is going to be mixing up my take on the famous fish taco sauce that we're going to dress these with once they're baked. And that's going to start with equal parts of sour cream and mayonnaise, followed by some ground chipotle pepper, as well as a nice big pinch of salt, plus a generous splash of our favorite hot sauce. And then last but not least, a tablespoon of freshly squeezed lime juice, or of course as much as you're into. And once we have everything together, we'll go ahead and give this a mix with a whisk. And to make it a little more challenging, I did mine in a really small bowl, so I had to start off whisking very slowly. But it eventually came together. And as soon as we have that mixed up nice and smooth, it's basically done, except we do have to give it the old pinky test to make sure it tastes exactly how we want. Unless people are watching you, then give it the old spoon test. And once we're happy with it, we'll go ahead and pop that in the fridge until needed. And we will move on to the prepping of the fish. And what I have here is 12 ounces of rockfish, which is also sold by the name of rock cod or snapper, but it's neither snapper or cod. And what I'll do here is cut these into 4 pieces each, since 12 ounces is going to make 4 portions, which because I'm going to get 8 pieces here, will be made up of 2 1.5 ounce slices. And as you'll notice, I like to cut these at about a 45-degree angle, so the pieces are the perfect length for the tortillas. And yes, these thinner pieces at the end, we will cut a little wider so we can fold them over to sort of simulate the other pieces. And the beauty of this method, since our fillets are different sizes, when we portion these on a taco, we can mix and match to get some nice equal portions. And then once our fish has been fingered, we'll transfer that into a bowl, and we will drizzle in a little bit of olive oil. And then we will season this up with some kosher salt, plus a little hint of cumin, an equally small touch of ground chipotle, and then we'll finish up with a little bit of good old-fashioned chili powder. And then we will take some tongs and thoroughly but gently toss this until everything's evenly coated. And yes, of course this will work with all kinds of different fish. All right, bass, tilapia, actual cod. All right, whatever you like, as long as you cut it into a similar size. But anyway, once that's set, we can transfer that into the fridge for about 15 minutes while we finish up with our other components. One of which would be our thinly sliced cabbage. And it's usually just sliced and put on raw, which is fine. But personally, I find it a little too stiff and a little too tough. So I think we want to finesse it a little bit by adding a pinch of salt and a little squeeze of fresh lime, followed by a nice pinch of dried oregano, preferably Mexican if you can get it. And then what we'll do is mix this together with our hand. And while we're mixing, we are also scrunching. And by adding the salt and the acid from the lime juice, plus the aforementioned squeezing with our hand, we're going to end up with something that retains its crunch, but it is not going to be quite as tough and rigid and stiff, which I think makes it a lot more user-friendly for the taco. So yes, this is an optional step, but it only takes about a minute, so please do it. And that's it. Once that's set, other than prepping whatever other toppings we're going to use, we can now get our puffy tacos ready for the oven, which involves placing 6-inch flour tortillas on a parchment paper lined sheet pan, which we will grease very lightly on both sides with a little bit of olive oil, right, just a touch. And by the way, I'm only going to film 2, but like I said, the recipe will make 4 portions. And by oiling these tortillas lightly and cooking our tacos in a very hot 500-degree oven, as you'll see, they're going to puff up beautifully. And no, this will not work with corn. All right, we have to use the flour ones here for it to work, which is fine by me. All right, I know the corn tortilla is the traditional choice for fish tacos, but I've always thought the flavor of the flour tortilla was a better pairing. Oh, and if there is one, we want the natural curl of the edge of the tortilla facing up, which is going to make for a better shape as they cook. If there's even a curve. If they're flat, it doesn't matter. And that's it. We can now place over our briefly marinated fish. And again, we're doing 3 ounces per taco. And as promised, we will mix and match those pieces to get a nice equal portion. And one key here, we want those pieces centered on one half of the tortilla, about 1 inch apart, since obviously we're going to want to fold these in half to eat them later. And believe it or not, that's it. These are now ready to transfer into the center of a very hot 500-degree oven, or as hot as your oven will go, for about 7 or 8 minutes, or until our fish is cooked and our tortillas are beautifully browned and puffy, and they hopefully look like this. And then what I like to do as soon as these come out is quickly but very carefully fold these right in the middle where we want them to crease. And I like to bring the paper over the top and just press them down for about 10 to 15 seconds, which if you're careful you can just do with your hand. Or if you want, you could use a small plate or ramekin on top like this. And again, we're only going to do this for about 10 or 15 seconds. And all this does is ensure your taco is going to fold in the right spot. Okay, if you let it cool down with it open, it will sometimes stiffen up and not fold exactly where you want. And is this step really necessary? I'm not sure. Maybe not. But it seemed like something to do. And that's it. Once our taco's been pre-creased, we'll go ahead and open that up and top it with our cabbage, which thanks to that salt and lime massage, is nice and flexible but still crunchy. And then personally, I like to add on some thinly sliced jalapenos, as well as some julienne radish, followed by, of course, our beautiful creamy fish taco sauce, which you can just drip on or drizzle over with a spoon. But for something a little faster and more fun, I like to transfer the sauce into a small bag and cut off the tip and pipe it over like this. But anyway, you decide. I mean, you are, after all, the Colonel Kurtz of whether your sauce drips or squirts. But either way, we'll finish up with some fresh cilantro and maybe a little bit of fresh lime. And of course, put whatever toppings on you want. But we do not want to overwhelm the fish, which is why personally I don't put on any onions or tomatoes. I really don't think this needs anything else. And that's it. Our baked puffy fish taco is ready to enjoy. So let me go ahead and squeeze on a little lime and dig in. And if you're thinking that looks great, but I hope it's as messy to eat as a regular fish taco, well, I'm happy to report it is. But don't worry, I'm fine eating food off the counter. In fact, I prefer it. And not only does that brief cooking time in a very hot oven make for a nice puffy, browned and crisp around the edge taco, it also produces a very juicy, not dry and overcooked fish. Which reminds me, I really wanted to call this baked reverse puffy fish tacos, since a regular traditional fish taco is crispy fish and a soft tortilla, whereas here the tortilla is crispy and the fish is soft, which to me works much better. Alright, even the most perfectly fried piece of fish, once you fold it in a tortilla with cabbage and the dressing and lime, it gets soft anyway, and you end up with soft tortilla and soft fish. But using this method, we get some crispiness with every bite. So I really do love everything about this taco and this technique. But anyway, that's it. What I'm going to do is go ahead and finish this, and then eat the other one. And what I hope you do is give these incredibly delicious and very easy baked puffy fish tacos a try soon. So please follow the links below for the ingredient amounts, a printable written recipe, and much more info as usual. And as always, enjoy.